Are you or someone that you know suffering through a grief that seems to linger on and on, especially during the holiday season? That's the topic that we're going to be addressing today on Flourish-Meant. I'm your host, Tina Yeager. And today I have a beautiful and powerful guest with me. Her name is Grace Humphries, and she is an 18-year-old singer and songwriter who's performed extensively with radio and media promotion tours and is a promising new voice in country and Americana music. She has a heartfelt holiday ballad that is new this year called 4 Years. Welcome, Grace. I'm so delighted to share your message on Flourish-Meant today.
Thank you for having me.
Grace, I'd like to talk a little bit about the healing power of music. There's been a lot of research that has supported that, and I believe that your new single, 4 Years, can be healing. Can you talk about your heart for that?
Yeah, I definitely think that in terms of grief, which is kind of what this song explores, you got to face it head on instead of bottling it down and pushing it down. And I speak from experience, it doesn't help bottling it up. And I think talking to someone like you're a trusted friend or a family member and talking about your grief helps too, and obviously my faith has helped a lot with how I've processed grief.
How did you come to terms with grief and your faith relationship with God? A lot of times that causes a huge struggle, especially when it's a really close family member and you may have prayed for him to get well. You may have prayed for him to survive the brain cancer that your brother suffered from. How did you grapple with that and work through what was helpful in that process?
Yeah, well, so when I was 8, I guess my relationship with God, I didn't really know him like I know him now. Like he's my friend, now. But my brother actually really loved Jesus and he would talk about Jesus. And at 10 years old, I mean, that's pretty impressive that a 10-year-old would have an affinity for Jesus that way. Especially when you're that age, it's hard to really grasp God. But he died believing. And I never forgot that, even though I didn't really grasp it. And then I came to my own, personal relationship with Jesus about a year and a half ago when I was doubting. There was a time of doubt in high school. I was really mad at God and about, past grief on Liam and, feeling lonely at school. And I finally said, you know what? Show me if you're real. And so I had a dream about Jesus and he hugged me and then I gave my life to Christ for real and never been the same since. Oh,
that's such a beautiful testimony, Grace. And you have so many beautiful things that have come together so that you can share your heart and your faith through your music. Is music sometimes also a little bit isolating? Is there a lot of pressure that you have to endure with that? Can you talk about what that's like for you? You already said you were isolated because of the grief. It was hard to relate to your peers because you had experienced this and you have this hole in your family and they felt awkward and all of that. So talk about what it was like to manage the pressure of music industry work and the pressure of being isolated at the same time from a support network with your peers.
yeah, so it really got tough in high school. I started my musical journey in high school freshman year. I was still in person and I was singing for chapel. I started singing for chapel more in front of all the kids and I'm sure that didn't help. I kind of stood out and but yeah, I think that it's hard maybe for kids to relate to, especially when you're putting yourself out there like that. Maybe it's intimidating. And I didn't really have any musician friends at school. So maybe if I did, maybe it would have been different. But yeah, it was hard to make friends that really understood.
So how did you cope with that isolation and the pressure in order to stay centered on your faith and continue to move forward?
Yeah, well, so halfway through sophomore year, I started homeschooling, and that allowed me to focus on music a lot more and also take the social pressures off. And I was so much happier for it. But also just, staying grounded in my faith and writing songs about it too, writing songs about how I feel about isolation.
It's so good that you're sharing this testimony of how the Lord and your faith was with you during the times when you felt isolated to get you through them, but yet He's also bringing you community. So He's bringing you back into where you can experience supportive family in Christ. So glad that you're sharing that. Can you talk about what your hopes are for people to take away from this recent single, 4 years, and maybe with your music in general? What are the heart messages that you're hoping to convey?
I'm hoping to convey that there's a reason for everything, and it will get better. Just keep trusting in the Lord. And if you don't believe, I just pray that y'all can find something, healing in confronting your grief head on instead of bottling it up. And that's what songwriting is about.
And when you say it will get better, because of the title, 4 years, that doesn't mean it's going to get better right away or that it's going to go away, right?
Right. It won't go away. It'll become more bearable every year.
And that's hard for people who are right there in the midst of grief to conceptualize because they're drowning in it right at first. So can you talk to the people that have fresh grief or are grieving? Like you said, there could be lots of kinds of grief, the lost dreams, the deferred dreams, the lost relationships, other things like that, where they just don't feel as happy. What would you like to say to those people today?
Yeah, I mean, if you're grieving over you haven't found your spouse yet, or you've lost an opportunity, I would just say that keep going, and in the right timing it'll happen.
And that is so good. Such good advice. Are there other songs that you want to highlight besides For Years? That's your new single, that holiday ballad that just is so relevant for people who are suffering during the holidays. How can people get their hands on that single? And what are some other songs that are your favorites that you'd like to point out?
Yeah, so you can stream 4 years anywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, YouTube, anywhere you get your music. It's 4, not the number 4, so FOR. And then, yeah, Grace Humphries Music everywhere on my handle. And I would say my favorite song that's out now, besides 4 years, is probably I Couldn't.
Ooh, tell us a little bit about that one.
I Couldn't is really a girl boss anthem. And it's really about, in a culture where, it's difficult to say no, it's about saying no and standing up for yourself.
I love that. I can't wait to see that one. I hope that all of you listening were inspired to seek out Grace Humphries and check out all of her music, including the recent holiday ballad, 4 Years. And of course, I also hope that you will come back for the next episode of Flourish-Meant.